It's Nolan. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mile. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. I got 'em, get checked, no problem. Motivate like Wallow, chick gon' follow. Only chase my dollars, front page my column. Nigga, they watching, just send me in Cabo. We can net, that's tribal, hand on the Bible. Lifestyle, they'll die for. Live a dream, no eye closed, put them on game. Run up my stats, I've been a beast in 7-4 flash on no cap. On the way to old nat, old sick, getting money in the bed, throwback, that's us. Can't trust nigga that rap, that's us. Rip, flood, drip, nigga, peep my strut. Turn those shit, got drinking my cup. Thick chick, whipping, shot it, been piped up like, wait. I be on bitch shit, y'all be on fish sticks, diamond they glisten, Very expensive, try to get this, gotta spend your pension, One muggy don't stop, no show. Turn the lights off, I'm still gon' glow. Thought I might quit, y'all nigga too slow. Southside nigga, we don't rate no hoe. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it. Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it. No shame, let's get it. New day, let's get it.
Yeah.
Big chain, let's get it. More fame, let's get it.
Yeah.
No shame, let's get it.
Dang.
Now at the end of the day, no matter what you throw at me, man, we always gonna bounce back, man.
We done got money, lost money, but it's always gonna come right back. Know what I'm saying? Yeah. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Okay, as y'all can see here, we got Miss Megan Thee Stallion in the thumbnail here. We're going to be talking about her legal team's response to the very salacious, outlandish lawsuit that was put out about a month and some change ago. It wasn't that long ago. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get all the way into it today because they not playing. Now, what was this guy's name? Emilio Garcia. That's right. Okay, and I think he called himself Emilio Coochie or something like that. But here we are. Megan Thee Stallion's legal team is savaging claims from her former personal cameraman that she mistreated and underpaid him. In a new court filing obtained by Rolling Stone, Megan's lawyers, Mari Henderson and Alex Spiro, say that there is no truth to the fabricated and outlandish claims of harassment and labor code violations made by the Grammy winner's former cameraman Emilio Garcia in a lawsuit filed last month. Garcia, who worked for the hip-hop star between 2018 and 2023, alleged in his complaint that Megan, whose legal name is Megan Pete, failed to pay his overtime, made disparaging statements about him, and once engaged in sexual contact with a woman traveling with Garcia in a moving vehicle. Okay? They say plaintiff, who is Emilio, is a con artist who is manipulating the judicial system to act as his publicist and bullhorn in a desperate attempt to boost his failed singing career while trying to tear down the successful career of Megan Thee Stallion. Henderson and Spiro write in their formal answer to the complaint. Okay. Now, we've got actual access to the entire complaint coming from Megan's team. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go through it. Okay. In his most explicit claim, this is Emilio Garcia, he alleged that he was traveling with Megan in Ibiza, Spain in June 2022 when she suddenly, quote unquote, engaged in sexual contact with another woman right beside him in a moving vehicle. They say he was embarrassed, mortified, and offended throughout the whole ordeal, right? His lawyer came out and said Megan just needs to pay our client what he's due, own up to her behavior, and quit this sort of sexual harassment and fat shaming conduct, because he did claim that she then went on to call him fat and said he didn't deserve to eat. Okay? Which I thought was very unlawyer-like. Yep, that way. Okay? Oh, man, they say Emilio should never have been in a position to be having in the... Wait, what? Emilio should never have been put in a position of having to be in the vehicle with her while she had sex with another woman. Inappropriate is putting it lightly. Exposing this behavior to employees is definitely illegal. Y'all know we went through his entire lawsuit when it came out. So now we're going to go through Megan and her team with their entire response. Okay? So buckle up and let's get ready to go through it. And I guess I should go ahead and share my screen since I typically do that anyway on these types of matters. So just give me a second and we will get right to it. Here we are. So Quinn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan LLP. That's Mari F. Henderson, Janet Shamillion, Julian T. Schoen. And I guess those are the ones, I don't know. And then you got Alex Spiro. So I guess that's the entire team. Attorneys from Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, Inc. and Hot Girl Touring, LLC. Okay, so those are all of the people that are representing her. The one that I know for sure is Alex Spiro because he represents Jay-Z directly. And I've been seeing his name for the past few years coming out on a lot of dubs for Hove. Okay? On the other side, we've got Emilio Garcia, an individual plaintiff. And then we've got the defendants here, Rock Nation, Hot Girl Touring, Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, Megan Thee Stallion an individual. And this is a notice of removal of civil action. They're trying to get this removed from the Superior Court of California, Los Angeles, to get this thing dismissed, get it tossed. Okay? So we're going to go past all these attorney labels, and they say, to the clerk of the United States District Court for the Central District of California and to plaintiff Emilio Garcia and his attorneys of record, please take notice that defendants Hot Girl Touring LLC and Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, together the removing defendants with the consent of defendant Rock Nation LLC by their undersigned attorneys, hereby give notice of the removal of this action from the Superior Court of Los Angeles County to the United States District Court for the Central District of California pursuant to 28 U.S.C. As grounds for removal, the removing defendants state as follows. So this is their preliminary statement where they're getting into it. This is a case involving an independent contractor, and this is very much important because he called himself an employee of Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation. They're identifying him as an independent contractor, which they labeled him during the time that he was working there. And this is very important because he claims that they would not pay him for overtime, hours worked, and that he did not receive any employee benefits. They are still, again, saying independent contractor in the beginning of their statement to let it be known he was never anyone's employee. He was an independent contractor. He was there to shoot video and photos possibly, and that's what he did. He was there for nothing more, nothing less. He's not an official employee. All right? That's very important for me to note. Now we will continue. This is a case involving an independent contractor, Emilio Coochie Garcia. Very funny that y'all put that name in there. A citizen of Texas who performed work around the globe for Megan Thee Stallion and her companies. The removing defendants, who are all citizens of Florida, under a contract providing a New York forum selection clause. This case has absolutely no connection to California State Court. However, plaintiff alleged in his complaint both that he was a citizen of California and that Roc Nation, Miss Pete's management company, somehow employed him. Very good. That's what I was trying to understand. How you going to charge her management company as taking you on as an employee when no management company does that? Both of these allegations are demonstrably false, as detailed below, and thus this case may be removed to federal court. Plaintiff is a con artist who is manipulating the judicial system to act as his publicist and bullhorn in a desperate attempt to boost his failed singing career. Let me say it again, because we went over that in the beginning too, of him trying to rap and sing and do whatever he wanted to do, talking about he didn't have no time to do anything, but he still found time to shoot for other clients and put out his weak music. We're going to continue. While trying to tear down the successful career of Miss Pete. Throughout his tenure as an independently contracted photographer and videographer for Miss Pete and her production companies, removing defendants Hot Girl Touring LLC and Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment Inc., plaintiff repeatedly falsified his invoices and overcharged Miss Pete, for services he never completed and sought reimbursements for money he never spent. So the counterclaiming here, your invoices were false, you were overcharging for your services, and there were things that we needed from you that were never even completed. Plus, you asked us to reimburse you for money you never even spent. Plaintiff's patterns of misrepresentations was so prevalent that Miss Pete was forced to terminate the plaintiff in June 2023. Angry at the loss of his high-profile gig and his exile from the inner circles of stardom, plaintiff filed a factually and legally frivolous complaint in Los Angeles Superior Court plagued with falsehoods, misrepresentations of fact, and outlandish claims. Plaintiff took a run-of-the-mill wage and labor dispute governed by New York law under the terms of his contract and trumped it up with sensationalist claims of sex, debauchery, and workplace harassment for the sole purpose of seeking attention for his own middling amateur artist career. Oh my God, they are tearing you up. And to tarnish the reputation of Miss Pete, indeed. Plaintiff and his counsel went on a press tour after filing suit to drum up attention for his meritless lawsuit. I didn't know about that. Hold on, y'all. I did not know he went on a press tour after he filed his lawsuit. I ain't gonna lie, I did a little bit of searching around to see if he did a press tour. I could not find one. I could not find anyone that was willing to take on interviews from him. The only publications that I seen that he did speak to was NBC News, and maybe his team funneled the information to Rolling Stone and other publications in that form, but I have not seen any, actual interviews on camera, videos of him talking about the situation. I haven't seen any direct, anything of that note. You know what I'm saying? Anything of that sort. So although most of what they're saying sounds how I felt from the jump, I will say them coming up with some sort of press tour that he went on, I don't see where he did that. Perhaps he attempted to. Maybe that got back to them, that he was attempting to get interviews with different publications. Maybe he was again turned down, but I just don't see any proof of that. I gotta be honest, and I gotta be genuine on both sides based on what I'm seeing and or finding, right? So that part I can't give any validity to. Okay. All defendants in this action will seek judicial relief at the appropriate time based on plaintiff's frivolous claims. For now, the removing defendants respectfully hereby provide notice of removal of plaintiff's state court action from Los Angeles Superior Court to this court based on diversity jurisdiction. First, complete diversity between the parties exists. Plaintiff is a citizen of Texas, and the removing defendants are citizens of Florida and Delaware, while Miss Pete, who has not been properly joined, is also a citizen of Florida. Interesting. Megan is a citizen of Florida, not Texas or California. Something here feels like these are business decisions. It feels, because you get tax breaks for starting an LLC in Delaware. I believe you also get that in Florida. Yeah, you're going against some business professionals here, man. You're not going against your former friend. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. I'm just going off of what I'm seeing and what I'm digesting and what we thought we knew. I've never seen where it was documented of Megan living in Florida. Not that it has to be documented because she's constantly on the move anyway, so we would never know where she lays her head out primarily. But I find that to be interesting. Pardon that can. Defendant Roc Nation, a citizen of California, New York, New Jersey, and Delaware, is a sham defendant brought solely to invoke the forum defendant rule and give plaintiff a basis to invoke California law. Plaintiff's decision to sue Roc Nation is a calculated attempt to defeat diversity jurisdiction and deprive defendants of a federal forum. In an effort to maintain this suit in California state court, plaintiff also went to extraordinary lengths to ignore his contract, which includes a specific forum selection clause requiring any suit to be brought in New York. So they're saying that he overlooked his contract. Any issues legally that he would have to take up with Roc Nation would need to be filed in New York, where he filed in California, where he claims he's a resident. They're saying you're a resident of Houston. You came and stayed in California for some work, but that was not your actual place of where you lived. I don't know. The judge will have to determine that. Plaintiff's failure to adhere to his contract in this case confirms that plaintiff was more concerned with staging his lawsuit in an improper forum than accurately pleading the facts underlying his claims. Notwithstanding plaintiff's pleading gymnastics, and as set forth more fully below, Roc Nation was improperly joined as a defendant to this lawsuit, and its citizenship is therefore ignored for purposes of determining diversity. See Emmerich versus Touche Ross. So they could start, of course, like any lawsuit, they start pulling up other cases where this mishandling may have been done. All defendants in a state action must join the petition for removal except for nominal, unknown, or fraudulently joined parties, and they make reference to another case. Roc Nation never hired plaintiff as an employee or an independent contractor, never directed or controlled plaintiff's work, and never paid plaintiff for any services under payroll or any invoice because he never worked for Roc Nation. I thought that was interesting that he attached himself to the Roc. I thought maybe, since they took over her business or her management duties, maybe they were the ones providing the funding, and maybe they took it up under themselves. But here they're claiming, no, he never worked for us at all. There is thus no possibility plaintiff has any wage, labor, or harassment claims against Roc Nation, and this case is properly removed pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332 and 1441. Second, the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000 exclusive of interest and costs. In fact, plaintiff already told several media outlets such as NBC News that he seeks more than six figures from this frivolous lawsuit. So they're saying, what? So the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000 exclusive of interest. So that's without the interest. Okay, so once you tack interest on, he's trying to say it's more than six figures, but when you just take the total itself, 75,000, but it needs to be 100,000, I'm guessing, based on maybe the court he's filing with. I don't know. Finally, or maybe he's misrepresenting the amount to make it more salacious for the news outlets. Perhaps that's what he's saying. Finally, the procedural requirements for removal are met and the notice of removal is timely. Accordingly, removal is appropriate here. Okay, now we're getting into what they call the factual background and procedural history. So this is where they're going to start talking about their understanding of what really happened. On March 1st, 2020, Hot Girl Touring entered into an independent contractor relationship with plaintiff related to photographing, video recording, and editing content for the performance artist and defendant Megan Thee Stallion, real name Megan Pete, which he never even put in his lawsuit. See declaration of Mari F. Henderson. You know how it go. The agreement was expressly between plaintiff and HGT, Hot Girl Touring. The agreement contained a forum selection clause that provides the state and federal courts located in New York County, New York, shall have exclusive jurisdiction over any dispute between the parties related to this agreement, and each party hereby submits to the jurisdiction and agrees not to contest the venue of such courts. So basically, any problem between him and Hot Girl Touring would need to be taken up in the state of New York, and he signed on to that thinking he understood. But you know, we be signing shit and don't even be thinking twice about it, for real. From the time plaintiff signed the agreement until his termination in June 2023, plaintiff worked as an independent contractor for Miss Pete. Plaintiff routinely invoiced HGT for his services. In each invoice submitted, plaintiff listed has his address as being in Houston, Texas. Oh, they on your ass, sir. So they're saying that they have invoices that reflect all of the payments were from Megan's Hot Girl Touring, because while she was moving about throughout the U.S. and any other territories, you know what I'm saying, throughout the world, that was for touring services through her company. So she's going state to state, city to city, taking photos, going to the eateries and restaurants, wherever they're going, taking photos, getting video, uploading content. This is all under the touring division of her business. And he's also saying that his address on each invoice is listed as Houston, Texas, not California. And that's very key, because again, I deal with some of these companies, publishing companies, etc. in the industry. They ask you for your address and they say, "Hey, is your address still current? Is this your current address before we send this form over to you?" You know what I'm saying? And then when I send them an invoice, I also have to put their address and mine in order for them to correctly pay me and send it to the financial institution of my choosing. So again, I'm not saying I work with Roc Nation or Megan Thee Stallion. I'm just saying my experience of working within the industry at some level does reflect what they're talking about. And I would love to see how he answers to these responses. Okay. Plaintiff also included in these invoices the payment information for his bank account with a routing number directed to a bank in Texas. See? In all instances, only named defendants HJT, as in Hot Girl Touring, I'm going to keep saying that, and Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment Incorporated paid plaintiff's invoice. Example 12, only Hot Girl Touring and Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment provided plaintiff with 1099 tax forms for his independent contractor work. Again, Roc Nation did not pay any of plaintiff's invoices or provide plaintiff any tax forms because Megan paid you out of her company finances. Although plaintiff was domiciled in Texas, he traveled with Miss Pete around the world during his tenure with HGT. See, I ain't too far off. I may not understand all the legal mumbo jumbo, but deductive reasoning is letting me know what they're trying to say. Plaintiff performed his obligations under the agreement in cities like New York, Miami, Tokyo, Osaka, Barcelona, Rio de Janeiro, and others. Indeed, between March 5th and December 4th, 2022, Miss Pete performed 45 shows in countries like Belgium, Brazil, Ireland, Portugal, Australia, and England. Henderson declined. What's this? Only 4 of Miss Pete's 2022 tour dates were even in California. So they're saying we spent a very little time in California at any point. Now, for that, I don't know, because she may have rented a home out there and maybe he was staying with her. I don't know. But I think he was living with a friend or staying on somebody's couch when he did relocate to California to follow her. So that's probably why his legal residence was not there, because he was staying in someone else's home whom he was not paying rent at. As a result, the majority of plaintiff's performance under the agreement occurred outside of California and with no rational nexus to California. Hold on, y'all. All right, let's get back to it. In June 2023, Hot Girl Touring terminated plaintiff's independent contractor engagement. 1 month later, in July 2023, plaintiff registered a limited liability company, Emilio Media LLC, in Texas. So now even your new business is listed in Texas, listing the same Houston address used in his invoices as well as his Texas taxpayer number. Yay on your ass. Plaintiff is also currently registered to vote in Texas. They holy. And according to plaintiff's recent social media posts, he remains in Texas. On April 23rd, 2024, plaintiff commenced an action in the Superior Court of California for the County of Los Angeles entitled Emilio Garcia, Plaintiff vs. Rock Nation, LLC, Hot Girl Touring, Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, Megan Thee Stallion, and does 1 through 10 defendants case, whatever. Plaintiff falsely claimed in his complaint that he was employed as a full-time cameraman by Rock Nation, HJT, and MTSENT, but was misclassified as an independent contractor by these entities. Plaintiff further falsely alleged that while on an assignment in Ibiza in June 2022, plaintiff witnessed Miss Pete having sex with another individual in a car. Plaintiff claimed that after the incident, which never happened, Miss Pete subjected him to verbal abuse. Plaintiff's false allegations created a media firestorm with coverage around the world by news organizations such as The Guardian, BBC, Time, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, and NBC News. In his complaint, plaintiff alleged claims for 1, hostile work environment under California's Fair Employment and Housing Act. 2, failure to prevent and remedy harassment under FEHA, which is the Fair Employment and Housing Act. Misclassification of an employee as an independent contractor under California Labor Code 226.8 and 2750.3. 4, failure to provide meal and rest periods under California Labor Code and unpaid overtime wages under California Labor Code. 6, inaccurate wage statements under California Labor Code. 7, waiting time penalties under California Labor Code. 8, retaliation under California Labor Code. And 9, violation of California Business and Professions Code. So they're basically saying all of this, his entire lawsuit was filed under California Labor Code when he wasn't even effectively an employee in the state of California. He wasn't even a resident of the state of California. So please tell us how California is supposed to be defending him in any way. And they say that the incident that he speaks of in Ibiza never happened. Because plaintiff's complaint necessarily relies on the terms of his independent contractor contract with Hot Girl Touring, the court may treat such a document as part of the complaint. To date, defendants Rock Nation, HJT, and MTSENT have been served copies of the state action complaint. Hot Girl Touring and Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment filed an answer to the state action complaint denying all allegations. All properly joined defendants, such as HGT and MTS Entertainment, consent to removal. Ms. Pete has not been served copies of the state action complaint. Okay, so they're saying her companies have been served, but her as an individual have not. Ms. Pete, because her name was not even really in there. Ms. Pete, therefore, is not required to join the notice of removal. Okay, nonetheless, and without waiving any objections to service, Ms. Pete consents to removal purposes of this notice. Defendant Rock Nation was improperly joined as a defendant to this lawsuit, and its citizenship is therefore ignored for purposes of determining diversity. All defendants in a state action must join in the petition for removal except for nominal, unknown, or fraudulently joined parties. Based on due diligence, no other named defendants and no DOE defendants have been served with the summons and or complaint in the state action. The fictitious defendants named as does 1 through 10 are disregarded for purposes of removal in accordance with 28 USC. Okay. Finally, defendants satisfied the procedural requirements for removal. Okay. They say removal is proper because this court has subject matter jurisdiction. This court has original jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to 28 USC because the parties have complete diversity of citizenship and the amount of controversy exceeds 75,000 exclusive of interest and costs. Plaintiff is diverse from all properly joined defendants. Plaintiff alleged in his complaint that he is a resident of California. However, Diversity jurisdiction speaks of citizenship, not residency. A party's citizenship is determined by their domicile, which is the permanent home where they intend to stay or intend to return. Courts consider a number of factors to determine a party's citizenship, including current residence, voting registration and voting practices, location of personal and real property, location of brokerage and bank accounts, location of spouse and family, membership in unions and other organizations, place of employment or business, driver's license and automobile registration, and payment of taxes. They on your ass, boy. God damn. I told y'all Alex Spiro don't play. Thus, a person residing in a given state is not necessarily domiciled there and thus is not necessarily a citizen of that state. At the time this action was filed, and at all times since, plaintiff was and is a citizen of Texas. Throughout the entirety of his tenure with HGT, plaintiff represented in his invoices that his permanent address was in Houston, Texas. Plaintiff used his Texas bank account with a Texas routing number to receive payment for these invoices. Plaintiff received his 1099 tax statements from MTS and HGT for the year 2023 at his Houston, Texas address. Plaintiff is currently registered to vote in Texas as previously stated. In July 2023, plaintiff registered his limited liability company, Emilio Cucci, in Texas. We already went through this. Okay. Oh, here we go. Plaintiff claims Hot Girl Touring LLC is a Delaware business organization doing business in Los Angeles, California, with its principal place of business in Miami, Florida. See, I figured this was a financial, you know what I'm saying? I knew it was something going on. This was already put in place because if you're not gonna register your company when you doing business with Jay-Z and they not gonna tell you all the breaks. However, the citizenship of a limited liability company is determined by the citizenship of all its members, not its principal place of business. Plaintiff later claims that Ms. Pete is the owner and principal of Hot Girl Touring LLC. Contrary to plaintiff's claim that Ms. Pete has the capacity to be sued in Los Angeles, Ms. Pete does not own a residence in Los Angeles specifically or California generally. At the time this action was filed and at all times since, Ms. Pete was and is a citizen of Florida with her permanent residence there. Had no idea. Accordingly, Hot Girl Touring LLC was and is a citizen of Florida because Ms. Pete was and is a citizen of Florida. During the course of plaintiff's independent contractor relationship with Hot Girl Touring, Ms. Pete spent the majority of her time outside of California between March 5th and December 4th, 2022. Again, they're repeating how many shows she did in other territories. She did 45 shows in different countries and cities. Okay? Now, as for defendant Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, plaintiff alleges that at the time this action was filed and at all times since, defendant Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment was and is incorporated in Delaware with its principal place of business located at 1450 Brickell Avenue, 18th floor, Miami, Florida. A corporation is deemed a citizen of his place of incorporation, and the location of his principal place of business. They even use a Nike lawsuit for proof. Accordingly, Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment was and is a citizen of Florida and Delaware. So Megan Thee Stallion as a business is a citizen of both Florida and Delaware. These some slick motherfuckers, man. Take that Cali shit out of here. Roc Nation is a limited liability company whose members are Live Nation Worldwide, Inc. I told y'all, Roc Nation, Live Nation, I told y'all. And Marcy Media, which is one of Hove's companies. Declaration of Sean Mullerville. So they're using that as a example. All the time this action was filed and at all times since, Live Nation Worldwide Incorporated is a corporation incorporated in Delaware with its principal place of business in California. At the time this action was filed and at all times since, Marcy Media is a Delaware limited liability company. Its members are citizens of New York, New Jersey, California, and Delaware. Thus, Roc Nation is a citizen of Delaware, New York, New Jersey, and California for purposes of diversity jurisdiction. At first blush, the forum defendant rule would prevent removal based on diversity jurisdiction because Roc Nation is a California citizen. Okay. However, Roc Nation is a sham defendant. They've said this before and they saying it again because they never even employed this nigga. Okay. So they're repeating themselves quite a bit in this thing. I want to get to anything else that they have here. Okay. So in this section that I'm kind of scrolling past, they're basically just doubling down that he never worked for Roc Nation, right? At no time was plaintiff an employee or independent contractor of Roc Nation. Plaintiff's contract was with Hot Girl Touring and Hot Girl Touring alone. Roc Nation was never a party to the agreement nor required to perform any obligations under it, right? They never terminated him or his ability, or never had the ability to do so. So that's what they're saying here in so many words. The amount in controversy exceeds $75,000, excluding interest and costs. Without prejudice to its defenses or conceding the merits of plaintiff's claims, plaintiff's allegations show that the amount purported to be in controversy exceeds the jurisdictional minimum, excluding interest and costs. To satisfy the amount in controversy requirement, a defendant must establish only that the potential damages could exceed the jurisdictional amount. Okay. So basically they're saying he's out here claiming that she owes him at least six figures, and he's doing that because it needs to reach a specific amount in order for the jurisdiction of, I guess, state of California to do like a labor lawsuit. Excuse me. I'm guessing. I don't know that to be true, but I'm guessing, right? Because they keep pointing out that his amount that he really should be asking for is about 75,000, but he's beefing it up for the media. Or perhaps that's the actual amount in his lawsuit, but in the media he's saying something different. Okay. When, as here, a plaintiff fails to plead a specific dollar amount of damages and the amount in controversy is not necessarily facially apparent from the complaint, the court may consider facts in the removal petition to determine the amount at issue. A defendant's notice of removal need include only a plausible allegation that the amount in controversy exceeds the jurisdictional threshold. Here, plaintiff seeks inter alia general and punitive damages under FEHA. Shortly after filing his meritless complaint, plaintiff told NBC News that he seeks more than six figures in damages in this action. Indeed, awards in FEHA actions easily exceed the amount in controversy requirement of $75,000, exclusive interest and costs. Further, plaintiff also seeks statutory and wage penalties under the Labor Code and restitution of unpaid wages. Accordingly, plaintiff's request for damages exceeds $75,000 exclusive of interest and costs, and the amount of controversy requirement is met. Okay. Let's see if there's anything here that needs to be said, because, you know, in these lawsuits, they are very repetitive. And probably because they have to be. After filing this notice of removal, the removing defendants will promptly serve written notice of this notice of removal on counsel for plaintiff and file the same with the clerk of the Superior Court of Los Angeles in accordance with 28 U.S.C. By removing this action from the Superior Court of Los Angeles, the defendants do not waive any defenses available to it and do not admit any of the allegations in plaintiff's complaint. Wherefore, the defendants remove the above captioned action from the Superior Court of Los Angeles to the United States District Court for the Central District of California, respectfully submitted. And then you have her entire defense team. Okay? So in simplest terms, they're simply stating, number one, the sexual harassment never occurred. The fat shaming harassment never occurred. This is what they're saying. They're saying that all of those labor codes in which he claims Megan and Roc Nation violated are not valid because they were not subjected to the California labor code, as they barely spent any time there, right? And Megan and her companies are not actually established in California in any way, right? They're established in Florida and Delaware. So how are you going to hold us to California code? We only did 4 dates there, right? So they basically picked apart his very repetitive lawsuit. I thought it was very weird that his lawsuit didn't have much of anything in it other than harassment and allegedly being a witness to a sexual encounter that he shouldn't have been. And they're saying that it never happened. So Megan and his team have no sort of admission of guilt on that. And Emilio, even as the cameraman, has no footage of this salacious activity happening. So he can't even prove that it happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very tough for him. I don't know how he's gonna respond to this. I'm sure his legal representation is gonna come out and put out a statement, because I thought it was very odd that they came out and said that they should just go ahead and pay him. Like, what lawyer says you should just come out and pay us without having her legal team look over the thing, without having any sort of defense, without having any sort of response? You think they're just gonna shell out the money immediately because y'all filed a lawsuit? Who does that? So I wouldn't be surprised if his legal advisement comes out and says something. I don't think it's going to help his case at all. And, you know, wishing Emilio all the best. Wishing Emilio and his coochie, I guess, all the best. Oh, man, that's crazy work. But, you know, maybe he'll end up getting a settlement. I don't think so. But if this thing continues long enough, we'll see. Because they want this shit tossed. Let me see you toss it up. Let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Become an insider. Oh, and before we go, I do want to put out this quote from Megan as well. Where is it at? Because she came out and spoke about something earlier. I don't want to miss it. Since we're here talking about her anyway, she comes out and says, there's this article on Billboard that says, Megan Thee Stallion reflects on feeling awful every day in the cathartic release of Hot 100 #1 hit, Hiss. So let's go through this real quick and then we're going to wrap up. It's been a turbulent last 5 years for Megan Thee Stallion. While her star power has grown, she suffered the losses of her mother and grandmother and had to deal with the fallout and trauma that came from the 2020 Tory Lanez shooting and subsequent trial. This is new, right? Okay. In her bout with depression, Meg turned to alternatives such as therapy to improve her mental health, as she dealt with a hate train that left her feeling like people were continuing to kick her while she was down. The Houston hottie opened up in her new The Official cover story about her mental health battle and the cathartic release that came with dropping Hiss earlier this year, which topped the Billboard Hot 100. She said, I felt so awful every day. It was such a hard place to get out of. I don't even want to care who hates me, really. What I should be focusing on is the love that I do receive. That's what I'm trying to get better about now. Everything is not going to be great all the time. If I'm going to be here for the cheers, I gotta be here for the boos. I appreciate her saying that, you know, because if you agree to be an entertainer at any level, you're going to get both. The Stallion claimed she didn't know there would be such a visceral response to his. Although the 29-year-old was happy to get the weight off her shoulders after people had so much to say about her in recent years. She said, I absolutely did not know it was going to do all that. I had no clue that was going to happen. I had been holding in feelings for a while. I felt like everybody was kicking me when I was down. She continues, it felt good to finally be able to just talk my talk because I was in a place where I was so down and I didn't want to do anything to disrupt any kind of peace. I felt like, oh, Megan Thee Stallion, everybody hates you right now. Don't say a word, just be quiet. Hits arrived in the last week of January and bowed in at the top spot to give Megan her third #1 Hot 100 hit and first solo entry at the Apex. The track launched with 29 million first week streams, 2.9 million radio airplay audience impressions, and 104,000 downloads sold between January 26th and February 1st. That's major, according to Luminate. Megan Thee Stallion's Rebirth themed album is slated to arrive this summer. Here we go. It's only so much summer left, but at least we have some sort of expectation now that it will be out this summer. That's all I've been asking for. She's been so mum, so quiet. I just want to know when the album's coming. She says, this is music I would like if I wasn't Megan Thee Stallion. I don't want to say I'm tapping into other genres. I'm just tapping into other sounds, but it's still very much Megan Thee Stallion. It won't feel like I went so left. It'll feel true to me. You'll almost be like, I wouldn't have thought she would have rapped over that, but this sounds great. So she's going to have a diverse range of sounds on the album, and she wants it to feel authentic. Going to be very interesting to see how that goes, how that performs, and such. They say Meg is currently on the road as part of her Hot Girl Summer Tour, which will rumble through Memphis and Atlanta this week. Okay. And that's the end of that one. Now we can conclude. We now know that Megan and her team has responded to Emilio Garcia. We now know that the album is coming this summer. So anyone who said she could take her time with it, it sounds like at least she won't. You know what I mean? Which is, I know I'm happy about that because I've just been sitting around like a sitting duck. Like, man, I don't even want the freestyles. I just want the records. All right. So now we have that update. We can go forth. I'm going to catch y'all later on the next one. Much love, respect. I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.